Hello. All right. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. For the third time, my name is Anya Ellis. I am the social media coordinator here at the Recording Radio and Film Connection. Now, a big part of my job is making sure that our online presence as an institution is appealing to potential students, people who want to be mentors with us, and employers. A big part of that, though, includes cheerleading your work and making sure that you're shown in the best light. There's only so much that I can do, though, for you. A lot of it starts with you. So today we're going to cover how to use social media to find work. All right, and thank you guys for joining. And I just want to check everyone can hear me. I see, yeah, Morgan can hear me, Demarcus can hear me. All right, thanks everybody for joining. So what I'm going to do really quickly is we're going to switch the screen. It looks like you guys have already figured out how to use the chat button, which is good. But if you're just joining us for the first time, you just want to click chat. You can ask questions anytime during the webinar. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and I'll do my best not to provide you with stupid answers, all right? So just give me 1 second to switch the screen here. Let's go with it. One. All right, and let me just give it a second to load. All right, perfect. Alrighty, so first I want to start off by explaining a little bit about myself. I've actually been working in social media for the last 2.5 years. I started off like many of you guys in music. I make music as well, but I found that connecting with people and building communities was providing me with such a thrill, almost like the thrill of, performing live on stage. And so I want you guys to think about that. I want you guys to think about your social life as an extension of whatever your skill is, whether it be audio engineering, whether it be film production. We're going to focus mostly on the audio and music production for this portion, but we'll have future Hangouts coming up later. But whatever it is that you do, you want to think of your social media platforms as an extension of who you are. So we're going to go over general profile setup. That's including choosing a username. Whether or not a personal page is going to be best for you versus a business page. We're going to also cover creating content and directing traffic to your profiles. If we do have time, I want to share 2 additional platforms other than the major ones. I want to talk about SoundCloud and SoundClip. They are very, very, very useful tools for anyone that is producing music. If you don't have one right now, you need to have one before we finish this webinar. Okay, and then something else that's really exciting is that we do have a new and improved student portal. And I definitely want to show you guys how that works. So looks like we have a question possibly. And I'll let my helpers bring that to me. Alrighty, so first let's talk about who's hiring on social media. Employers from small to large are hiring. About 65% of small businesses use social media for recruiting. 51% of medium-sized businesses use social media for recruiting, and 44% of large businesses use social media for recruiting. And the vast majority are all doing this on LinkedIn. So we'll touch on LinkedIn later. So just one moment here. One thing that I do want you guys to keep in mind is that the size of the business that you're speaking to and exactly what your goals are in making these social media connections are going to be really important to catering your message and detailing it to who you're trying to reach. So I'm sure everyone has some type of social media profile. It may, some of us may still have our MySpaces from a couple of years ago, and some of us are here in the times now. Um, just as a quick rule, I wanna make sure that everyone knows not to be this person right here. You don't want to be this girl. That moment when somebody who has the potential to open up your career to new possibilities and new opportunities, and you give them a email address that turns them off, like crazy girl 85 or not trustworthy 77. Just kidding. But the point is that you don't want to have an email address that presents you as not professional. Now, of course, I recommend, if you're not a particular performing talent or a writer, if you're not doing something that traditionally requires a stage name, then I definitely recommend sticking with some kind of variation of first and last name. Even though it's all music, it's important, behind the scenes to be, professional. So the next question a lot of people ask me is whether or not they should have a Facebook profile or a Facebook fan page. And there's really no one size fits all answer to that. They actually come with a variety of different benefits. I'm about to get into those now. And you may find that, like many other people, it's best to have both. So with a personal page, there's a 5,000 friend limit. And that can be very limiting if you're trying to sell music. You need way more than 5,000 people to buy your latest album. However, if you're making contacts with owners of studios and people who are in positions to actually hire you, it's not likely that you're going to need more than 5,000 friends. So that's something to keep in mind there. Also, with personal pages, you're able to tag people in updates and photos, which is very useful for cultivating relationships with the people that are in a position to create opportunities for you. It's a lot better than sending a blank email saying, hey, I don't know you, but what can you do for me? Because you have to keep in mind that no one likes to be sold to. And even though it's social networking, the same rules for in-person apply. Another great thing about a personal page is that you're able to send messages to anyone, whereas with a Facebook page, with a personal profile, you're able to send messages to anyone, and with a business page, you can only message people who have contacted you, regardless of whether or not they've liked you already. So like we discussed earlier, the business pages have no fan limits. So as many people as you can get to like you, the sky is the limit. One drawback with business pages is that all content is not displayed to all your fans. Facebook has a constantly ever evolving algorithm that many people, many social media professionals, including myself, have to continually fight to stay ahead of. So that's one drawback of a business page. Also, you're unable to check in at places, which, again, when you're cultivating relationships with venue owners and studio owners and stuff like that, it's very helpful, for you to be able to check in at their place, because oftentimes they look to see who's checked in there. And of course, for anyone who's tried to create a fake Facebook profile, you know that Facebook is very strict when it comes to what type of name you can select for an actual Facebook profile. But with a fan page, you can name it anything that you want. And of course, if you are growing a team, you can have multiple people manage your page content, which is very useful if you want to concentrate on your craft and you're in a position where you can have someone help you with it or outsource your social media needs. What it really comes down to is you need to know your audience. You need to know who it is you're speaking to. And you might find that you're trying to speak to both of these people or both of these factions, and you'll need both. But those are some things to consider. So after setting up a profile, what comes next is creating content. Content, it's a word that's thrown around a lot, in this field, but it's actually very simple. Content is everything that is inside a media. It includes media production, publishing, information, experiences, anything that's going to provide either information or entertainment to the people who are viewing. So, like I said earlier, a big part of my job here as the social media coordinator is to cheerlead for the students. So it helps me to help you. The more pictures you take, the more videos you take. If you're a skilled writer, writing blogs is amazing. It's probably the best way to share your content because you're going to almost always have pictures or videos accompanying that. So you're able to share everything. Now, a lot of times people will think that because they have a particular discipline or a particular skill that pictures won't apply. For example, I'm a painter, so why do I need videos? Or, I'm a screenwriter, so I don't need headshots. But we live in a time where people are very visual and we consume media at this rate, at a rate that we haven't before, and so you want to keep feeding people. You want to stay in the forefront of people's minds. So when someone thinks, I need an audio engineer, then you're going to be on their mind. Okay, so you want to take those pictures, you want to take those videos, you want to write those blogs. When it comes to pictures, you also want to keep in mind the platforms that you're sharing in. The different platforms have different sizes, that you crop the images to. You want to be very careful about that because a lot of times what you're trying to convey in a picture might get lost in the cropping. So it's something important to keep abreast of. Once you've created this content, you need people to see it. So we want to talk about driving traffic. How do you get people to see your wonderful pictures, see your wonderful videos, people to know what's going on with you, people outside of your regular circles? Well, there are a couple ways to do that. One popular way, which I'm sure you're probably already using unknowingly, is the hashtag. Now, hashtags, they serve two purposes. You can either use them to inject yourself into a pre-existing conversation, or you can also use them to create a conversation and to extend your brand. I recommend if if you're just starting and you're just starting to create your presence, then I recommend piggybacking on existing what's hot already. So obviously there are going to be some obvious hashtags that are important to your craft, like if it's audio engineer, mixing, studio life, or something like that. But depending on you and exactly what your goals are, say there's genres specifically that you want to work with, you want to include that, and you'll be you'll be surprised by the the excuse me. You'll be surprised by the response that you get from people who are interested in the same things that you are. And a good rule of thumb is to probably not exceed 3 tags in a post. Anything beyond that is going to look spammy, and when people see too many hyperlinks or too many links, they're going to be turned off about that. So you don't want to spam, but you are promoting yourself. The second way that I recommend for people with lower followings to increase their followings and to increase their presence is to interact and follow people who are already achieving great notoriety in your field. We call them influencers. It can be anyone from a blogger to a music artist, again, a studio owner, anybody connected to what it is that you're interested in doing. You want to connect with them. Now, like I said earlier, you don't want to just send them an email saying, "Hey, I like your blog. Can you shout me out, or can you write something about me?" That's, they get, particularly bloggers, they get tons of messages like that all the time. So you want to be a little bit more creative and subtle with your approach. What I recommend first is following. People are always obsessed with checking to see who's following them. Even you'd be surprised, even when people have, followings as big as, 15,000, 100,000, they will still go back and peruse and look and see who the most recent followers were. So you want to follow first. That should be your first method of reaching out. That should be your first method of reaching out. Secondly, you want to engage with their content. There's, a couple ways to do that. You can share it, you can comment, um, or you could just like it. Obviously, I said those out of order of escalation. So liking would probably be the most general way to engage, and that could go unnoticed. Comments typically are always noticed, and then shares are probably the best thing that you can do to what's that word, to endear yourself to the person that you're trying to get to notice you. Hmm. All right. See, I'm going to check and see if there are any questions. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat. But it looks like we're good. Alrighty, so it looks like I also do have time to go into the specific platforms. So what I want to do is I want to start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, like you saw in the infographic earlier, 80% of companies who look for business partners or employees do that on LinkedIn. It's not, if you're used to Snapchat, Instagram, the more fun social media sites, then LinkedIn might look a little imposing when you first get to it. It can be confusing how to share content and what to do. The great thing about LinkedIn is that so much of it is kind of an extension of our platforms that you already use. So I'm fairly certain that almost everyone watching uses Facebook. So when you go into your LinkedIn, and I can probably share it with you. Let's see. Just give me 1 second, guys. Nope, that wasn't it. All right, so here's LinkedIn. Again, like I said, it looks, a little different than the typical picture like comment format of most social media sites, because this site is actually designed for exactly what you're here for today. It's designed for you to connect with people who can be potential business partners or employers of yours. So again, with any social media platform, the question is, well, how do I connect? How do I find people? How do I add people without being spammy? So similar to Facebook, you'll see that in the upper right-hand corner, you have the ad section, and then you have to see people that you may know. You come over here, you can add all these people. It shows you where they work and their position. So for example, say you're looking for, let's see, who do we have here? Say I wanted a job with, who do we have here? Teen Life Media. All right. So I have Kate Welton here. I just for the record, I don't actually know Kate. Okay. All right. I don't actually know Kate, but say I was interested in a position with Teen Life Media. So now I have a name of someone here. What I could do, and actually a student of ours actually used this approach to become employed at a recording studio, is that they came here, they found a contact, and then they looked to find out how email works at this company. So for example, Teen Life Media, I'll go to Google. Guys, let me know if the Google doesn't share. Okay. And thank you for letting me know. All right, just one moment here. So we'll do that again. Okay, so we're gonna get back to the LinkedIn in a second. Let me just take a second to answer two questions here. We have one from Morgan and one from Jonathan. Morgan wants to know if I can give any specific examples of ways I have personally increased my following and social media influence. Well, what I do personally for my personal projects is, or actually for all projects, is on Instagram and Facebook, they will tell you every day what is trending. Every day you will find out what people are talking about, and then the onus is then on you to find out how you can interject what you're doing with what people are talking about. So like, for example, Transformation Tuesday is huge. I know tons of people are going to be posting gym selfies and the like. So I will pick a song of mine that, I designed to be, upbeat and something that I can imagine people working out to. And, I'll post a fitness related post, with, my music or whatever I'm trying to push as the background. The, there's something that's said a lot in marketing, is that no one likes to be sold to. And the great thing about social media, well, the great thing and what is kind of challenging for some people, is that it forces people to think of themselves as businesses. So what you want to do is you want to interject yourself into the conversation, and hashtags are a great way to do that. Again, tagging people is a great way to do that. Business cards with your social media attached to it is also a great way to do that as well. And any pictures and any graphics that you create, because a lot of people don't look at exactly what's going to be written in the description field, that you want to put some text, or you want to make sure your picture communicates what it is that you want the viewer to do, because if you leave it up to the description, it might not happen. Hope that answers your question, Morgan. Jonathan wants to know what would be a good way to get a show at a venue as an opening act or performer. Okay, well, I think that's actually a perfect question to segue back into LinkedIn. So let me get this screen situation set up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Give me just 1 second for that. I move this out here, and then share screen. Nope. All right, what about now, guys? Can you see LinkedIn here? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we were going to play around with Teen Life Media, but let's see, booking a gig. Well, first thing I would see is if I have any friends in booking. So I'm going to search booking, and we're going to look at people. Okay, so apparently one of the great things about LinkedIn is that when you search for something like this, it shows people that you're connected to. One thing I do want to advise you guys, warn you guys about, is that social media is very aspirational. So like I have, so I'm looking here, we have some of my connections include Michael G. He's A&R Island Def Jam. I don't really know how I know Michael, so don't send them emails and stuff. But it'll show you who you're connected with here. So based on a search from booking, I found Michael, who's possibly A&R, Jeffrey, who's possibly at Universal, and we found these people. So then I would go to connect with them, would send an invite if we're not already connected, or now that I have this person's name, they don't really do booking though. Let's say I'm trying to get signed, similar to trying to get booked, right? So I have Jeffrey Collins' name. I have, this guy's gonna kill me. We have Jeffrey Collins' name, and he's at Universal Worldwide Distribution and Promotion, right? So then what I would do is, let's see if, I just want to make sure you guys are keeping up. All right, we're opening at the Google, so we're doing Universal. All right. So Universal email Universal distribution email addresses. Let's try that. Okay. So we have contact Universal Music Group. All right. So their email is umpg.royalty@umusic.com. So what I would do is I would try some variation of Jay Collins' name, either Jay Collins, Jeffrey Collins. I would try and spell it out. Prior to sending in like a direct email, though, I would follow those other suggestions that I gave earlier in terms of following what their social media is, endearing myself to them. So I would like the achievements here. With LinkedIn, you get an opportunity to when someone is achieving something, when someone starts a new job, or when someone gets promoted, they update that information in their LinkedIn, and you get an opportunity to comment on that. And those are, that's how you connect within LinkedIn. So I would follow along. I would follow Jeffrey along. I would set him in my sights. Jeffrey is someone I want to work with, so I would follow Jeffrey along. I would like everything that Jeffrey posts. I'd share everything that Jeffrey posts. I'd comment on everything that Jeffrey posts, and Jeffrey would then, hopefully take note of who I am. And if he is not so, not so inclined to message me first, then I would send, him an email and see if there was, an opportunity for us to have synergy. Hopefully, though, at that point, he does have some knowledge of who I am through our previous social media interactions, and now feels, it doesn't feel like spam. Because again, like I said before, probably third time saying this now, no one likes to be sold to. You can have what someone wants, even. You can be the best audio engineer, music producer in all the land. If your approach is too heavy, if your approach is too strong, then you're not gonna get good results. So that's how you would use LinkedIn. Let me check and see how we're doing here on the time. Great, we got 20 minutes, so we get to we'll definitely have time for the student portal. And what I want to show you now is SoundCloud and SoundClick. Give me a moment to switch the screens back. And okay, so Jonathan, did that answer your question? And Morgan, let me know if you need me to go in further detail with that. I would love to. And just give me a second to pull up SoundClick here. Well, let's start with SoundCloud. I'm sure you guys are more familiar with that. Okay, just a second to make sure it comes up right. No? Yeah? All right. Awesome. Okay, so this is SoundCloud. This is basically Facebook solely for music lovers and music makers. Now, rather not you're in front of the mic or solely behind the boards, this is something that you're going to want to use. You can speak all day about how great of audio engineer or music producer that you are, but nothing at all is going to compare to actually being able to hear it firsthand. And you want people to be able to do that rapidly. You also don't want to you don't want to do one of the major sins in music, and that is sending an MP3. Never, ever, ever, ever send an MP3 file unless you were asked for it. Never. That's the quickest way to just be ignored. So the lovely people at SoundCloud, made this great app. Same basic social media principles, apply like other people's stuff, use hashtags, all that jazz. But they provided an opportunity here where you can upload your music, simply just going to upload, choosing a file, and you can just send these links, to anyone. So it's also a great tool for booking. It's a great tool for showing your abilities. And so if you don't have one, you should have one very soon. Even if it's just so I can listen to how great your music is. Now, secondly, and this is kind of my favorite, is SoundClick. what's really cool about SoundClick, it's been around for, I think, since 2002, 2003. It's like they say, the number one artist music community. What is really surprising to me about this website is how it's managed to stay secret for so long. Like this is we recently had a student here who produced a song for the rapper Fetty Wap, and prior to signing with Fetty and doing all that, he would sell his beats on SoundClick.com. Like, you can, artists who are looking for beats and stuff, this is where they come. This is where they come. And if we'll look here, let's see. I was looking at, see, does he have anything about his placements? No. Okay. Well, definitely encourage you to check out SoundClick in terms, like, to look and see, what the different producers have worked on. A lot of times I will say that once people do achieve some level of mainstream success, and they do get off this site, but in the beginning, when you're trying to make those connections and you're trying to get heard, it's a perfect meeting place, because it's starving artists without big budgets to spend on beats, and then you have a lot of producers and stuff who really just want to get heard. It's just everyone's goals tend to be aligned on this site, and as you can see, the prices are pretty reasonable. In terms of, like, these are for leases though, so in case you're a music producer and stuff, no one's expecting you to give away your entire creation for $20 or $49, but it is a great way to, one, generate some income in the beginning while you're making these songs. And the great thing is that as many artists as you want to allow to record over your music, they can. And the more people that hear that, if you follow the social media guidelines that I set forth earlier, and you encourage these people to tag you in a production, you're going to be increasing your following right there. And the more people that record to your music, the more exposure that you have there. And so this is really, 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 really a cool tool. All right, so now that you know what your part is in terms of creating content, and how to make it easier for people who want to find it, I need you guys to make it easy for me to find it, so I can share your work and your creations and your achievements with our rapidly growing audience. So that brings me to our student portal. Give me a second to make sure that everything switches up right. So this is my student portal page. I'll give it a second to load up. Awesome. Happy holidays to everyone, by the way. And as you'll see here, it's a completely new layout. It's very fresh. But what I really want to draw your attention to is these buttons here, the Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube icons. It's really important for us to promote you, and for those of you guys that don't have websites or anything like that. If you don't have a website already, then let us be where you send people to check out your work. I've noticed that a lot of students have been submitting pictures in their blogs, and we love that. We love reading about what you guys are doing, and we love being able to, assist and jump in. Yeah, this is the social media department, but if someone comments about not being able to log into a class, I run right to the appropriate person. Anything that you need, we're reading, we're paying attention. So what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to these social icons here and just show you guys how to fill those in correctly. I noticed that a lot of people have tried, but it is a little tricky, and I have figured out why. The reason why is because, particularly for Facebook, there's a code that you have to place in, and it's not like the other profiles where you just put facebook.com/ whatever your name is. So let's go here. All right, so you guys are familiar with this screen. It's where you edit your profiles as soon as you log in. I'll give it a second to make sure that it's showing up on your screen.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, so you go ahead and make sure you fill out all your information. The more information that you give, the better. It helps our guys everywhere. It helps our guys in career services. It helps them to provide information to potential employers. If you're unavailable for a phone call, it's just very useful. I cannot stress how useful having a fully completed student portal profile is. But for social, as you come down, you'll see in contact information how to fill these things out. Now, this number here is how we'll be able to access your Facebook page. It's very simple. You just go to your profile. This is my profile. Feel free to add me. Profile up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so when you're on your profile, so just in case people are not sure how to get there, so this is your main feed, and then you click your picture and it takes you to your profile. And what you'll see in the navigation bar here that I have highlighted is your actual Facebook ID number. And I'll leave that there for a moment so you guys can find it. If you want to do it while you're watching class, you're more than welcome to do so. And I'll just wait until the highlight shows up for everyone. Yeah, great. So you just want to copy that, and then you go back to your portal and the main page where you fill out your contact information, and you simply paste it in and submit. With LinkedIn, Twitter, SoundCloud, it's just your username, so that's a lot easier. But most people share most of their content rather on Facebook, so it's very useful for us to have that. All right, and so once we go to the profile, click the Facebook button, and it brings us right there. Alrighty, now, okay. Looks like we have some more questions. Okay. Stop. All right, and I'm back. All right, so let's see. So Jonathan also wants to know, finding other musicians to work with, is it the same? SoundCloud is SoundClick and SoundCloud are really good for that. I think possibly because we're running a little low on time today, so possibly I'll do another one actually showcasing a few other sites that are really good for collaborating. 1 second here. Yeah, there are a few great ones. SoundClick and SoundCloud are the top ones. What I can do, Jonathan, is I can hunt you down and send you that information, or when we do the next Google Hangout. Desiree, you're definitely welcome. Morgan, are there any other tips to separate yourself from others in such a competitive industry? That's a really good question. Because the industry is so competitive, whatever one person learns, eventually the information is disseminated, and then you have to come up with a new approach. The Yeah, so really, there with something like a career, shortcuts are not always necessarily the best way to go. If you have a skill or a product that is a good product and a good skill, then really just aligning yourself with other people, and being willing to take lower billing, not necessarily having to be the star, or the main person in charge. That is really the most effective way to really advance your career. And so with social media, it isn't to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do in real life. It's an enhancement. Let's see, Demarcus wants to know, how do you effectively grow a following? Because a lot of people don't follow back. Again, it goes back to content. I think some great rule of thumb. A great rule of thumb is visuals, pictures speak 1,000 words. So you have limited characters that you can use on Facebook and Twitter, or particularly Twitter. Anyway, so you want to create pictures. Unfortunately, I know most of us are in the business of sound, but pictures are what'll get people to click through to hear those sounds. In terms of following to get followers back, that's pretty much a numbers game. You can pretty much expect a significant you can expect less people to follow you based on a follow back. However, you also are pretty guaranteed to get some people to follow back. So like I said, with that, that's a numbers game. That's something that you also want to be careful with too, because when someone lands on a profile and they see that you're following more people than are following you, then again it has a spammy look, and you're not the only person out there trying to sell something. So I'll say it one more time: no one likes to be sold to. So the smoother the smoother of an operator that you can be, the better results that you will receive. Do we have any other questions? Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Morgan. Any other questions there? No? All right. Well, while I'm waiting for those, and as we're getting ready to wrap up, I do want to encourage you guys to follow us on social media if you're not already. We're on Insta. I'm on Snapchat, actually. So yeah, we'll get you the Snapchat information as well. There's lots of silly behind the scenes office stuff here, so not much for the recording and stuff, but definitely Facebook. You want to follow us there. We've launched a Pinterest, so we have tons of studio pictures for you guys to salivate over, as well as those inspirational quotes that you guys love. The next webinar, Jonathan, is going to be on Tuesday, January the 5th. It's going to be presented by Elliot. He's one of our student advisors for the film film program, and I do apologize. I do not have in front of me exactly what he's going to be covering, but I'll be pumping that out on social media next week, so don't you worry. Um, Periscope. Are we on Periscope, Desiree? You're trying to give me more work. We're not on Periscope yet. We'll look into it. Yeah, we'll look into it just for you. All right. Well, again, I'm Anye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Google Hangouts. As always, if you're a student here, we're always standing by to help you with whatever you need. We're a Facebook message away, a phone call away, anything you need, we're here for you. And if you're not a student, visit recordingconnection.com. We're the only program that allows people to learn one-on-one with actual industry professionals. You don't get that kind of training anywhere else. So definitely check us out there. You guys have happy holidays. See you next time.